Today we step into the world of Oleg Gordievsky, the man dubbed the double agent who saved the world. A senior KGB officer, son of a KGB officer, yet secretly working for Britain's MI6 for nearly a decade. He provided Soviet secrets that may have prevented a nuclear World War III. But everything began to unravel one May afternoon in 1985 in the heart of Moscow, the epicenter of the Soviet Empire. Join me in reliving that moment based on Ben Macintyre's classic book, The Spy and the Traitor, one of the most authentic accounts of this story. Imagine you are Oleg Gordievsky, May 27, 1985, a dreary Monday in Moscow. You receive an urgent summons from your KGB superiors, the Soviet Union's most fearsome intelligence agency, where secrets equate to power and betrayal equates to death. Gordievsky, now 46, is a KGB colonel stationed in London, the capital of the enemy. He drives to a secret KGB complex just a mile from the city center. Not the grandiose headquarters on Lubyanka Square, but a secluded bungalow hidden behind barbed wire and snow-covered pines. This is no ordinary meeting. This is a trap. Inside, he is greeted by General Viktor Grushko, a senior KGB figure notorious for his cold smile and iron fist. "Welcome, Comrade Gordievsky," Grushko says, pouring a glass of fine Armenian brandy, the fiery sweet liquor KGB officers love to unwind with after long days. The table is set cold cuts black bread and friendly tales of intelligence operations. But behind the cordial facade lies a ruthless plot. According to Gordievsky's account in Macintyre's book, his brandy was laced with SP-17, a potent truth serum developed by the KGB in the 1970s. This wasn't ordinary sedative. It was a memory thief, a chemical compound designed to blur the line between will and truth, forcing victims to confess every secret in a delirious haze. Just a few sips, and Gordievsky's world begins to collapse. His vision blurs as if Moscow is sinking into thick fog. Hallucinations creep in, shadows of old comrades emerge from the walls, whispering accusations. His mouth dries, his mind reels, yet he struggles to stay calm. Then the door swings open. Two KGB interrogators step in, burly men with lifeless eyes, black leather coats, and notepads. "We know you're a British spy," one growls in sharp Russian. "We have irrefutable evidence. Confess, priznayся." They slam the table, flipping through blurry photos, Gordievsky meeting contacts in London, secret calls, traces sold to the KGB by Aldrich Ames, the CIA traitor, for millions of dollars. It was 5 hours of hell. 5 hours where each second felt like a century. SP-117 set his body ablaze from within. Heart-racing, stomach-churning memories dragged from the shadows. The KGB didn't use whips or electric shocks here. They were more sophisticated. They used psychology whispers, fabricated evidence, and the primal fear of the Gulag, the deadly labor camps in Siberia. But Gordievsky, a man who witnessed the Berlin Wall rise like a scar across Europe's heart, wasn't easily broken. He recalled advice from Kim Philby, a British spy who defected to the Soviets now. Ironically, his guiding star, deny, deny, deny. It's instinct. "No, I have nothing to confess," he repeated, voice hoarse, hands clenched into fists under the table. Sweat soaked his shirt, but his will, forged through years as a double agent, held firm. The KGB had a point. They knew Gordievsky was a cunning fox. Born in 1938 to a staunch KGB family, his father a KGB naval officer, always in uniform even on weekends, Gordievsky was trained at the Harvard of the Soviet Union, Moscow's Institute of International Relations, a cradle for future spies. He joined the KGB in the early 1960s, rising quickly thanks to his linguistic skills and outward loyalty. But beneath that facade was a man who saw the system's brutal truth from the Berlin Wall in 1961, where he watched barbed wire rise not to fend off enemies, but to cage East German citizens, to Copenhagen's free streets, where he first bought a pornographic magazine simply because he could. And the tipping point, the 1968 Prague invasion, when 2,000 Soviet tanks crushed Czechoslovakia's democratic dreams, igniting in him a burning hatred for communism. That's why he turned. Not for money. Gordievsky initially refused all MI6 payments. It was for belief. He saw the Soviet Union not as a workers' paradise, but as a soulless concentration camp, as he told Macintyre. And when posted to London in 1982 as head of KGB political intelligence, he became a window into the Kremlin's mind, revealing Yuri Andropov's paranoia, who believed the US was planning a nuclear strike based on absurd signs like late-night office lights in Washington or full Pentagon parking lots. But today, we pause here. The moment Gordievsky walks out of the bungalow temporarily free, but under 24/7 KGB surveillance, he knows time is running out. Just weeks later, he will trigger the boldest escape plan in espionage history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to not miss Part 2, the PIMLICO escape, from Moscow to the deadly border. Do you think Gordievsky is a true hero? Comment below. Thanks for watching. In Part 1, you learned how Oleg Gordievsky survived 5 hours of hell in the KGB bungalow, denying every accusation despite the truth serum scorching his will. But freedom is an illusion. The KGB watches him 24/7. Bugs in his apartment cars trailing his every step, and fear like a shadow. Aldrich Ames, the CIA KGB double agent, sold him out for a pittance. Time is running out. Gordievsky knows escape or die in Siberia. And that plan, Operation PIMLICO, is one of the boldest rescue missions in intelligence history, personally approved by Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Today, we follow him from Moscow's heart to Finland's deadly border. Based on Ben Macintyre's detailed account and declassified documents, this is a story of survival. Put yourself in Gordievsky's shoes. After the May interrogation, he's released, but under an iron net. Each morning he checks his curtains for pinholes. The KGB lacks hard evidence, but they'll get it soon. That's when he activates the emergency signal prepared by MI6 in Copenhagen 3 years earlier. The PIMLICO plan is simple but insane. On a Tuesday at 7:30 p.m., he stands outside the S05 bakery on Kutusovsky Prospect holding a Safeway shopping bag, a rare Western symbol in Moscow. An MI6 agent will pass by holding a green Harrods bag, biting a Mars bar, the signal, the plan is on. If not, wait a week. If yes, race to the final rendezvous, kilometer 836 on the highway, to the Finnish border, over 600 kilometers from Moscow. July 16, 1985, Tuesday. Gordievsky's stomach growling after a day of feigning loyalty stands with an empty Safeway bag. His heart pounds. 10 minutes pass. 20. The KGB could be watching from the corner. Then he sees him, Arthur G. MI6 agent, rushing from a bus 15 minutes late. G, face flushed from running, holds a Harrods bag, devouring a Mars bar. Not one bite, but 3 to be sure. Their eyes meet for a split second. Yes, it's me, Gordievsky screams in his head per Macintyre. PIMLICO is activated. Thatcher had said we must keep our promise to our spy. 3 days later, Gordievsky will flee or die. Morning Friday, July 19th. Gordievsky pretends to go for his usual jog around a lake outside Moscow. The only way to shake the KGB without raising suspicion. He bolts into the woods, heart pounding, like a drum, then catches an overnight train to Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. From there, a local train to the resort town of Zelenogorsk on the Gulf of Finland, then a bus to the rendezvous, kilometer 836, a desolate road sign, 26 kilometers from the Finnish border near Viborg. The plan: hide in the bushes at 3 p.m., wait for the MI6 team. But Gordievsky, human not machine, slips up. Arriving early, he hitchhikes into Viborg for fried chicken and beer, losing track of time. "Damn it," he mutters, realizing his mistake. Rushing back on a truck, he lies to the driver, "I'm meeting a girl in the woods." He hides in the bushes, mosquitoes swarming his face meters from the highway. "Wait. Control yourself," he tells himself, clutching a thin coat. The KGB could be sweeping the border. The MI6 team, led by Moscow Station Chief Roy Ascot, with his wife Caroline and young child as cover, plus Arthur G. and wife Rachel in a second car, races toward him. Their alibi: Rachel needs emergency back treatment in Finland. The KGB tails them in a truck, headlights piercing the dark. Ascot slows deliberately, forcing the KGB to overtake. At that moment, the MI6 convoy swerves onto a side path at KM 836. Ascot stops. Gordievsky bolts out. "Filthy, unshaven." "Hurry," Ascot whispers. He strips off his outer clothes in the heat, swallows a sedative to avoid panic, and curls up in the trunk of Ascot's Volvo. The whole process, 80 seconds. The trunk slams shut, the car speeds onto the highway before the KGB notices. But the border, the final hell. At the Viborg checkpoint, German shepherd dogs sniff for odd scents. Rachel opens a bag of cheese and onion crisps, scattering some on the ground. Not enough. Caroline changes her child's diaper on the trunk, tossing the soiled one near a dog. "It slunk away," offended Macintyre writes. The Soviet guards shrug, wave them through. At 3:15 p.m., Finnish time, they cross the border. The odds of success were just 20%, but Pimlico won. They race north through Finland to Hammerfest, Norway, fly to Oslo, then London. Gordievsky, now a free man, kisses the hand of Veronica Price at the border voice, trembling, "Thank you." But behind the joy is pain. His wife, Layla Aliyeva, whom he loves since Copenhagen, mother of his 2 daughters, remains in Moscow. The KGB detains her, interrogating her brutally, but she refuses to believe her husband is a traitor. Her letter smuggled out after 2 years via a Finnish truck driver. "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you abandon us?" Thank you for watching the final part on Oleg Gordievsky, the man who risked everything to expose the Kremlin's darkness. If you followed from part 1, you know about the harrowing truth serum interrogation. Part 2 took us through the insane Pimlico escape, where he curled up in a car trunk, fooling guard dogs with dirty diapers and crisps. Now freedom comes at a steep cost. From London in 1985 to his secretive death in Surrey in 2020, Gordievsky lived in shadows, not of the KGB, but of loneliness and legacy. Today we explore how one spy changed history, averting nuclear war, but lost his family. Based on Ben Macintyre's book and the latest documents, this is the end of the story. But the legacy is eternal. Let's go back to the moment Gordievsky steps out of the trunk in Finland, July 19, 1985. Veronica Price, the MI6 officer who designed Pimlico, waits nearby. He bows, kisses her hand, voice trembling, "Thank you for saving me." They race to Hammerfest, Norway, fly to Oslo, then land in London, the city he once infiltrated like a wolf among sheep. MI6 places him in witness protection, fake name, safe house in the suburbs, and a new life. But joy is fleeting. His wife Layla, the gentle woman he met in Copenhagen, mother of daughters Tatiana and Anna, is trapped in Moscow. The KGB arrests her right after Gordievsky vanishes, interrogating her brutally. "Your husband is a traitor. Did you know Layla, a naive WHO secretary, refuses to believe it? No, he's loyal, she insists though. Her heart breaks. 2 years later, a Finnish truck driver smuggles out Layla's letter. Raw, painful words. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you abandon us? What are you doing to save us? Gordievsky reads it, tears streaming. He once considered including his family in PIMLICO, but the risk was too great. Layla might have refused to defect, and 2 young girls would have been a burden. Instead, he lobbies diplomatically. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who called him our most valuable asset, personally writes to Mikhail Gorbachev, let his family go. President Ronald Reagan also intervenes, telling Gordievsky, we know you. We value what you did for the West. Thank you. We remember your family and will fight for them. 6 years of separation, from 1985 to 1991, when the Soviet Union collapses, they reunite in Britain. Layla and the children are granted asylum, but the wound is too deep. Layla, once Gordievsky's light in the KGB's darkness, now sees him as a betrayer. You left me in hell. The marriage crumbles soon after. The daughters grow up with their father, but the gap never closes. That's the price of freedom, not money. Gordievsky still refused most MI6 payments, but a broken heart. But Gordievsky's legacy transcends personal pain. He didn't just escape, he saved the world. Remember Able Archer, 1983. The NATO exercise the Soviets under paranoid Yuri Andropov mistook for a real nuclear attack. They loaded atomic bombs onto planes ready to retaliate. Gordievsky from London warned MI6 they think it's a preemptive strike. That intel reached Thatcher, who shared it with Reagan. The result, the West toned down hostile rhetoric. Reagan shelved his evil empire speeches, paving the way for the Geneva Summit and the 1987 INF Treaty, the first to cut nuclear missiles between the US and USSR. Historians call him the man who stopped World War III. Only 8 people knew his identity then, including Aldrich Ames, the traitor who nearly killed him. After escaping, Gordievsky became a secret advisor. He briefed British and American leaders on the Kremlin's psyche, from Tony Blair to George W. Bush. He wrote books, Next Stop Execution, 1995, detailing his escape. KGB, 2013, exposing the agency's inner workings. The Soviets sentenced him to death in absentia in 1986, and Russia hunted him until his end. He lived incognito in Surrey. Fake name, small house avoiding press. I'm a ghost, he told Macintyre. But he had no regrets. I saw the Soviet Union as hell, and I chose freedom. And then on March 4, 2025, Oleg Gordievsky died at 86 in Godalming, Surrey, his second home. Counter-terrorism police were called, but the death was unsuspicious, perhaps old age, perhaps scars from SP-117. Global media hailed him. The Washington Post called him the Cold War's pivotal spy. The Guardian, the spectacular defector. The New York Times, KGB turned double agent. His legacy, not medals, but a world unburned by nuclear fire. One man with belief and courage changed history. Thank you for following this 3-part series on Gordievsky, from the KGB's shadows to the light of freedom. If you love real espionage stories, subscribe to the channel. For more, next up is Aldrich Ames, the traitor who nearly destroyed it all. Like, if you think Gordievsky is a hero, comment below. Would you dare live a double life like him? And don't forget to read The Spy and the Traitor by Ben Macintyre. Link in the description. See you next time.